It started with a nagging feeling, you know, the kind, a slight itch at the back of your mind that won't go away, Rachel. And I had been married for 6 years, and for most of it I thought we were happy. We had the house, the shared dreams, the inside jokes, and even the golden retriever cliche enough to make people roll their eyes. But in the last few months something fell off. Her smile didn't reach her eyes anymore, and her phone became her new best friend. Whenever I walked into the room she'd tilt the screen away. I told myself I was imagining it. Stress from work, maybe we both had demanding jobs. She'd started staying late at the office more often. When I asked, she brushed it off as deadlines piling up. I wanted to believe her, I really did. Then came the night of our friend Amanda's birthday party. Rachel didn't come with me, claiming a sudden headache. She'd urged me to go anyway to send her love to Amanda. I'd felt uneasy leaving her home alone, but I couldn't exactly force her to go. That's when the dam broke. At the party I caught snippets of whispers. Amanda's sister Lisa was talking in hushed tones about something she'd seen at the lounge downtown a couple of weeks ago. I'm telling you, it was Rachel, and she wasn't alone. Lisa said, her voice barely above a whisper. My stomach turned. I couldn't confront her there. What if I was wrong? What if Lisa was mistaken? But the seeds of doubt were firmly planted. The rest of the night passed in a blur, my mind racing with possibilities. When I got home, Rachel was asleep on the couch, her phone clutched loosely in her hand. For the first time in our marriage, I picked it up. The lock screen lit up, showing a series of messages from someone named Mark. They weren't explicit, but they didn't need to be. Can't stop thinking about last night. Wish I could see you again. My hands shook as I read them. I put the phone back, and Saturday in the dark for what felt like hours. Was this really happening? Was my wife the woman I'd promised my life to cheating on me? The next morning I confronted her. Rachel, who's Mark? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She frowned, her coffee mug halfway to her lips. Her eyes widened, but only for a second before she composed herself. A colleague, she said too quickly. A colleague who's thinking about last night. I shot back, and her face drained of color. It was just one night, she whispered, as if that made it better. It didn't mean anything. I swear I love you, John. Please, let's just move past this. Move past this. I wanted to scream, but instead I nodded, forcing a calm I didn't feel. We'll talk later, I said, walking away before I said something I regret. Later that night, while she slept, I made a decision. If she wanted us to move past this, then I needed to know the whole truth. I hired a private investigator the next day. The a gruff man named Howard didn't waste time. Within a week he handed me a folder filled with evidence, photos, texts, even receipts from their nights out. It wasn't just one night, it had been going on for months. I stared at the damning evidence, feeling a mix of rage and heartbreak. I couldn't just let this go. She'd betrayed me, or she'd lied about it to my face, but I didn't want a shouting match. I wanted her to feel what I was feeling, to understand the weight of her actions. Over the next week, I planned carefully. I'd always been methodical. It's what made me good at my job. Now I'd use that skill for something else entirely. The first step was ensuring she wouldn't see it coming. I acted normal, maybe even more attentive than usual. I cooked her favorite meals, laughed at her jokes, and even suggested a weekend getaway. She seemed relieved, as if she thought I'd forgiven her. Then came the night of reckoning. I'd invited her to dinner at a county little restaurant downtown, the kind with dim lighting and candles on every table. I wore my best suit, the one she'd always said made me look like James Bond. She wore a red dress I hadn't seen in years. For a moment I almost faltered. Almost over dessert, I handed her an envelope. She looked at it, puzzled. What's this? She asked. Just something I thought you should see, I said, keeping my voice steady. She opened it, pulling out the document inside. As her eyes scanned the contents, her face went pale. Her hands started to shake. John, she whispered, her voice barely audible. What is this? It's a list, I said evenly. Every text, every date, every hotel you and Mark went to, proof of every lie you've told me. How she couldn't finish the sentence. Tears welled up in her eyes. I can explain. Oh, I'm sure you can, I said, leaning back in my chair. But here's the thing, Rachel, I don't care anymore. This is your mess, and now you get to live with it. Her tears spilled over as she looked around, as if hoping the restaurant's patrons would come to her rescue, but no one paid us any attention. I'll do anything, she pleaded. Please, John. I'm so sorry. You're not sorry you did it, I said, my voice cold. You're sorry you got caught. And I stood up, dropping a wad of cash on the table to cover the bill. You'll find the divorce papers at home. I've already signed them. You should too, unless you want all this to come out in court. Her eyes widened. And who are you? Wouldn't I? Leaned in close, my voice barely a whisper. Try me. As I walked out of the restaurant, I felt a strange mix of emotions. Anger, yes, sadness, definitely, but also relief. For the first Timing months, I felt like I could breathe again in the weeks that followed. I focused on rebuilding my life. I sold the house and moved into a sleek apartment downtown. I reconnected with friends I'd neglected and threw myself into hobbies I'd abandoned. Life wasn't perfect, but it was mine again. As for Rachel, she signed the papers last I heard. She and Mark didn't last. Turns out relationships built on lies don't have much of a foundation. Revenge, they say, is a dish best served cold. For me, it wasn't about vengeance, it was about reclaiming my dignity, and that, I think, is the sweetest victory of all.